the final stretch of season. 12 drivers will move on as tonight is our first race of the chase. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eliza Bethel alongside Pete Ruzick. Pete, how you doing tonight?
Eliza, I'm absolutely doing phenomenal. Hope you are. Richmond International Raceway, 3/4 mile D-shaped oval in the heartland of Racing USA. Glad to kick off the chase with you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's going to be a fun chase. I believe we do have several races left, 5 or 6. So there's not many in the chase, but this is it. The points have reset for these top 12 drivers, and we'll see who will earn the cup at the end of the season. But I'm excited, but you know what we have to do? We have a driver spotlight tonight. So let's bring him up. Joining us tonight for our driver spotlight is going to be the driver of the number 9 machine, Austin Mitty. Austin, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to have you out here in the booth. We don't get to talk too much, so I'm excited to get these questions underway. All right. For the first question, it's going to be easy. Use one word to describe Richmond.
Probably tiring. Just because I don't know, I don't really be racing like that. So we got short tracks, you're braking. Like I like Charlotte last week because you just gotta really lift. So
that's true. Yeah, this is tiring, 200 laps, so I can see how it would be very tiring. And if you have that force feedback up, I can definitely see that being a thing for sure. All right, our next question: what is a hobby you have outside of racing?
That's a good one. I ain't gonna lie. Ain't much. A hobby. I'm an alcoholic. No, I'm kidding. But that's honestly not too much. I just I work, get on the game. You know what I'm saying? I play Valorant, stuff like that. I'm a nerd. So.
Oh, nice. All right. So you're a gamer. So you're.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, we've had a couple of them where like I don't really have any other hobbies, just gaming, which is kind of different. I mean, it's racing, and then you have gaming, totally different thing, I guess. But yeah, here we go. Who do you see as your biggest competitor on track? He's like, I didn't expect these questions.
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. People from last week, they know. Jimmy, they know. Francis, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
Not this week, but maybe next week. Got some shit going on. But probably Brody. Brody, he's tough. I think he's the best in this whole league, for sure.
He is tough, and he is last season's champion for Xfinity. So
he's a GOAT.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What is the biggest challenge in the Gen 6 car for you?
I don't know. This league is the first time you ever raced the Gen 6. I only really raced the next gen and Xfinity cars, so I don't know. They're kind of easy to drive. That's not what everybody says. They're easy to drive, and it's hard to pass people on most of these tracks we race on. So I don't know.
Fair enough.
Be honest. Yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah, it's the type of car that everyone talks about how it keeps you very, very close. So that can be tough. I mean, because you can't get away from each other. So dirty air and whatnot can definitely affect you.
For sure.
All right, Mr. Austin, the final question is going to be, what is your favorite driver and your favorite paint scheme in real life?
Like current or like all time or what was that?
Whichever one you think. Give it to me.
Probably, obviously Jeff Gordon, the GOAT.
Nice.
That 2015 Exalted paint scheme, he won what he won at Indy or whatever it was.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite.
I hear you. I love that you're a Jeff Gordon fan.
Yeah.
Amazing. And obviously you have to be a Chase fan, right? You got the Chase.
I root for Chase, but I like to see the 24 car win over Chase if I had to choose. But
is that because of Jeff Gordon?
Yeah, for Gordon. Okay. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, well that's it for what did you say?
Chase low-key been falling off, so
Absolutely. I'm hoping his season changes though, because he's doing good. He's consistent, but man, he needs those wins.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Austin, it was great getting to talk to you. I wish you a ton of luck out here tonight. Speaking of tonight, how do you feel about Richmond? Do you think you're gonna be up there, or how are we feeling?
I hope so. When I used to race this game, I won Xfinity car here on the fixed races, so.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. I don't know. These guys are pretty good. See if I can hopefully get a good qualifying lap. If not, I might be cooked. So,
All right,
see.
well, we'll find out. But a lot of luck to you. It was great getting to talk to you tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right, see you later.
Yep.
Pete,
Yes.
200 laps at Richmond Raceway. What do you think we're going to see tonight?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, 200 laps. These guys are running about 20 to 22 seconds a lap. I think it's going to be very competitive. Throughout the practice, we've seen some people get a little loosey-goosey off the corners. They're just going to I think that's what's really good about these practice sessions and then the warm-up and seeing what they've got during qualifying to set that grid. Is basically getting used to these things as much as they can. As they've said, all along, as much seat time or the best or the most amount of seat time that you can get in any of these vehicles here on the service, the better. I think we're going to be in for a great race and a great start to the chase as well. How about you?
I agree. I think it's going to be an exciting race for sure. And take a look. You can see the playoff drivers. Those drivers that are lit up in orange, they are your chase drivers. So they will be the 12 that are going for a championship. I'm so excited for it. We'll be at Richmond, obviously, tonight for 200 laps. These guys have absolutely cut off their points, started over at 1,000, added those bonus points for stages, for wins, for laps led, you name it. Their points were added. So once we go into the warm-up, we're going to go over those, but practice is getting ready to end here. I can tell you conditions are slick right now. It's going to change a lot as we go into the race and the sun starts to set, but right now, these guys are on ice.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, right now I'm looking at the track temp, the air temp and all that. It's about 92-degree track temp and about an 83 air. There's a little bit of just a slight breeze across the track, so no issues really there, but track conditions are going to be very slick.
I agree, absolutely. Let's take a look. We got Jonathan Jorgensmeyer out there in that contingency. A couple of different paint schemes. I want to kind of go through them that I've noticed at 37. It was kind of crazy. He was having a glitch, or I was having a glitch with what his paint scheme showed up as. But take a look at that number 37 machine. Wonderful paint scheme out there. These guys are just so incredibly talented. Got the 48, Francis Hamilton, first on the board in practice lap time at 21.29. Right before that, these guys were tied all the way down to sixth place with a 21.58. Honeycutt coming out there in the fastest second. John Honeycutt. Harmon going to be third, 21.57. Jones, Wright, Book, all 21.58. So the lap times are very close, Pete.
Yeah, very. I'm looking throughout some of these guys. A lot of the Team FIWB drivers, quite a few of them are in the chase, and they're kicking things off with one of those RJ creative schemes from the one and only Rivers Jones. And hey, I'm sure Brody Falliker, after the week that he had last week, he's glad that that's all in the rear view. He's got a fresh start to the chase. I look for that 42 to be strong as always.
You know, he was talking in chat last week and said, I don't remember having a good race ever at Charlotte. And last week did not end well for him. Fortunately, he did have a win, so he is automatically locked into the chase. And you can see him 8th on the board currently in fastest time. And I want to give a quick shout out to you guys in chat. You guys are out there just chatting it up. I love it. I hope everyone's doing good. Thank you so much for tuning in. Moose, changed your name on me. I almost didn't know who you were. Real, I see you out there. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, 5 years is wild. Maddie, I hope you're doing well.
Amazing.
Evan, yeah, things are cooking out here on the track. The 16 and the 11 teammates out here just nose to tail bumping a little bit here at Richmond.
Yeah, watching the 11 of Jimmy Cocker in that Virginia Tech game. He started, he's got a couple wins on the season in those colors. So bringing it out to fire off the chase, not a bad idea. But how about that, Eliza? You know, this community in Shake and Bake, whether it's on the oval side with the NASCAR or the open wheel series that you broadcast for during the week, and then all the guys and girls that you've got out there in the land of chat, over 4K as a broadcaster. That's absolutely amazing. What a great following all the way through, and what a very, very close knit tight community.
Yeah, I've been very blessed to have you you guys here with me along the way on this journey. It's been a wild, crazy ride, and it's just always fun getting to talk to everyone and getting to know everyone. So
Yep.
I enjoy the heck out of it, and very blessed to have you guys in my life and coming out here watching us just have some fun. And here we are in qualifying already, Pete. We got Jarrett Cardwell on that number 12 machine, hoping to make a nice comeback from last week. We see him up in the front of the field quite a bit, and then something always happens. I told him chaos happens when you're up there, and then you usually get involved in it, unfortunately. So I said FTR. I almost said FIWB. FTR needs to go 1, 2, 3, 4 tonight, right?
That would be amazing. And he was telling us a little bit of a story about a takeout order or something like that, where his
Yes.
order number was 1212. And well, hey, there's that Vogues to go number 12, putting his laps down, and his Mustang Dark Horse got a little squirrely off of 2, but other than that, keeping the front end pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, that time we're starting to probably around 7 or so p.m., 7:15. So, we're starting to see that shade on the track. It might be getting a little grippy, but man, those cold tires not doing us any favors out there for qualifying. But you see Thomas Harmon out there on the board with a 21:54. Josh Taylor, another Chase driver, 21:59. Francis Hamilton, 21:62. Jarrett Cardwell moves down to 4th. Andrew Sanford in 5th. Matthew Gale, 6th. Bridgman, 7th. Austin Mitty, 8th. David Moransky, 9th. Dylan Robb in 10th. And Micah Allard sitting P11.
I tell you what, Eliza, Matt Gale has really been picking up some big
Yes.
momentum as the season's really getting into kind of the sunset of the season, if you will. But great to see that 67 getting closer and closer to the front. I think before long we might see a surprise in victory lane.
I know, absolutely. And he's out there in our F1 series, and just every week, the racing that he does with these other drivers, just side by side the entire time. So incredibly exciting. He does a phenomenal job out there in F1 also.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Not to stereotype, but Matt Gale. I've mentioned it many times. He's 5 hours ahead of us. He's over in the UK. There's just something about European drivers and road racing. They just seem to have a really great knack for it, and it sounds like he's no different.
Absolutely. Take a look at this. Jonathan Hernandez, we're on board with him. Last week, we have a driver spotlight interview with him. And ended up winning the race. He said, you guys can interview me anytime. So hopefully it brings Austin Mitty a little luck tonight. But man, he's coming off of a win last week at Charlotte, our longest race of the season. Here he is qualifying.
Yeah, it looks like Hernandez is out there, so is Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Right now, only about 14 guys have put down their lap. Jose Ruiz just hit the track. So did Matt Sisler, Jamie Wright. I think I just mentioned him, but yeah, a few more getting out there, waiting until maybe the track temp will change just a little bit, or whatever the case may be. But some people really waiting until the end of qualifying to try to get that fastest lap in.
Absolutely. Racer Wreck, I hope you're doing well out there. Yeah, I mean, you can see the sun is definitely setting. I think we're going to start to see things tighten up a little bit. We'll see, but man, by the time this race happens, once it hits around 8 p.m., things will grip up. It'll be a little loose, but a lot of this track, that uncomfortable looseness will be going away, and I think these guys will be side by side quite a bit. I think we're going to see some green flag laps, Pete, but as I was talking to Jarrett Cardwell earlier, I think also we will get a few cautions back to back. It's just short track racing, and when you're this close together trying to go for one spot, it get pretty difficult.
Yeah, it really can, as we got about 20 seconds left in qualifying before we go ahead and get to warm up. During that whole conversation about the track and Jarrett Cardwell and whatnot, we were also talking about Bristol and how Bristol being another short track, just a half mile. we really didn't see a whole lot of cautions that night. I think once everybody gets out on track, they've got that air, around the field, moving around a little bit. They tend to rein it all in and put on a great show for us and everybody else out there watching.
Absolutely. All right, qualifying is over. We're headed over to the warm up now, and we got to bring out the points. We talked about it earlier, but let's take a look. The chase, the final 12. We're going to have Stephen Maggio. He leads the way with 1,031 points. Thomas Harmon going to be in second with 1,022 points. Brody Folliker going to be third. Jimmy Cocker, FIWB, along with Brody, is going to be fourth. Jonathan Hernandez, teammates with Thomas Harmon, out there in fifth. Rivers Jones in sixth. Josh Taylor, seventh with 1,005. Brian Pizzakimi in eighth. Joseph Berg, ninth, tied with Francis Hamilton for ninth with 1,002. Brennan Book, 11th. And Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who fell quite a bit after disconnecting for 2 races. He's out there with 1,000 points, sitting P12.
Top 12, as you mentioned, all the points reset. It goes off of all the different bonuses that were given throughout the year. And I tell you, Eliza, I'm sure as the regular season closed out and all these drivers are looking at their points, they had to go back and revisit some difficult tracks, or maybe a spot or two that they had to give up or gave up. Maybe their car wasn't handling the best or whatever. I'm sure in the back of their mind they're going back. If they just missed it by a point or two, you get haunted by those races that didn't go quite right, or maybe you just weren't greedy enough, as I don't think we'd ever really say. But these chasers are going to have a phenomenal rest of the season, as we got 3 very, very distinct tracks coming up. I think after this is Talladega, it's the Glen, and Talladega and the Glen are like the next 2. So Richmond, Talladega, and the Glen, 3 very, very different tracks. It's going to be a great start.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the race analysis for Richmond out here. 200 laps. We're not going to have a faster pair. That will remain the same for the rest of the season. Stages. Stage 1 will end on lap 60. Stage 2 will be 140 laps. Tire sets, we will have 4 fresh tire sets to put on these cars throughout the night. So strategy maybe come into play here. We'll see how it goes, but these guys still warming up. I'm ready to go, Pete. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely ready. 200 laps around this 3/4 mile, again, D-shaped oval in Richmond, Virginia. We talked earlier, these guys putting lap times down about 21.6, 22 flats. The fastest of this practice session, or this warm-up session now, about a 21.54 for Jamie Wright, with Hernandez. Just as I say that, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer went to the top of the board with a 20.56. So, just a couple hundredths, but hey, we've seen people come across the line with a finish that close. It's gonna be a great start.
Absolutely. And we've got to talk about our sponsor here. This break brought to you by Izzy and Jay Soap Company. They craft natural, handmade soaps, beard balms, and tattoo butters. It benefits your family. It's great for the planet. If you can, visit them at www.izzyandjsoap.com. They are just an amazing company. I know Pete has talked about what they've done for his wife and how he gets them, and the smell is just absolutely amazing. So be sure to check them out.
Yeah, the ingredients that they use in their all-natural soaps, whether it's for oily skin, dry skin, the beard balms, tattoo butters, body lotion. I mean, there's so much there, and it looks like, hey, how about it, that number 91, he's got the Izzy and Jay colors on board yet again.
Yeah, he does. Let's take a look. Beautiful car. I mean, he just he really puts out Amazing paint schemes. Just so much talent there. I told him once things calm down a little bit, I'm going to have to hit him up for a paint scheme. I don't even know if I could pick what I want him to do. I just might have to say, just do what you want.
Surprised me, right? Yeah.
Right?
He does amazing work. He really does. And a lot of the teams rely on his digital creativity and to put all these things together, and they come to life week after week for many drivers. He does a great job.
Absolutely. All right, 200 laps at Richmond getting ready to start as these guys are going to be gridding up shortly. Let's take a look at the grid and see what's going on here. But we're going to have Rivers Jones, and we just talked about that paint scheme for Izzy and Jay. He's going to be on pole with a 21.51 in that 91 machine. On his outside is going to be Thomas Harmon, rounding out your front row here. Row 2 is going to be Josh Taylor with Micah Allard next to him in the 61. Row 3 is going to be Steven Maggio in the 51 car, and P6 is going to be Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Row 4 is going to be Matt Sisler in that number 45 with Jamie Wright to his outside. And row 5 is going to be Francis Hamilton in the 48 with Jonathan Hernandez, last week's winner out there, P10.
Yeah, P11 looks like last season's champ in that 42, trying to go back-to-back for P11 to his outside. The guy that came in second last season in points, Jimmy Cocker in that Virginia Tech number 11. P13 looks like it's Joe Turley in the 13 with Luke Allen in the 7, P14. Row 8 looks like Jarrett Cardwell in that Team FTR number 12 with Andrew Sanford in the 37, P16. P17, Connor Cunningham in the famed number 3 with our driver spotlight, Austin Mitty in the 9, P18. P19, Matt Gale again from across the pond with Jose Ruiz in that Columbia number 23, starting 20th.
21st, going to be Dylan Robb in that 16 machine with P22, Philip Bridgman. David Moransky in that P23 in the 7-Eleven in honor of his mother. 24th is going to be Brennan Book in the 5 car. And in 25th, going to be Tom Flitcroft with 26, Joe Berg. 27th, Jordan McGraw with 28, John Honeycutt. Brian Pizzikimi, 29th, and Kevin Dallator going to round out the field, P30.
So 30 next gen 30 Gen 6 Cup cars, shall I say? Coming around, getting ready to take the green next time by, Eliza. That Izzy and Jay Soap machine with the 68 Frozen machine for Tom Harmon. A lot of chasers inside this top 12. Get ready to go.
Absolutely. You can see these guys lining up closely together, trying to prepare for that start as getting ready to hit that backstretch. But, man, that 91 getting on pole, and these guys are just going to be incredibly close. I'm kind of curious how these first couple of laps will start off. It is still a little slick out there as we're waiting for the sun to go down. But I'm ready. 200 laps. It's going to be exciting. First race of the chase, and the pace car is pulling off here. We're getting ready to go here at Richmond Raceway. We are off on the start. A great start for Thomas Harmon as we are 2 wide all the way through, getting these guys past the start-finish line. 2 wide still for the lead, Pete.
Yeah, 2 wide for the lead. The 91 really hoping that Harmon wasn't going to be to his outside as he came off the corner. Turn 2 comes up very, very quick as still 2 wide for the first 3 rows. 91 getting a little loose. Harmon's going to be able to go on. He's going to go ahead and lock it down. We're staying green.
Man, so unfortunate for the 91. He saves it. Should not have really any damage, but that cost him every position almost on the track. Just such an unfortunate start for that 91 machine. Still a long race. It is only lap 2. Here we go. Thomas Harmon in the lead. A chase driver here. Jurgensmeyer second. Maggio third. Jamie Wright in 4th, which we saw him extremely strong in practice, but I did see him have a lot of trouble coming off these exits and getting loose, so I'm going to have to keep my eye on him.
Yeah, Steven Maggio, our current points leader as we kick off the chase. Right now, he's already up 2 spots and just went shake a big purple with a 21.86. I'm sorry, 21.86 so far. As we got a battle for the lead, looks like Jurgensmeyer went to the inside of the 68 of Harmon, trying to take that spot and get that point.
Yeah, I want to see this race go well for the Double O. I mean, he's had amazing talent out here, fantastic runs, but the blinking issue for him, hey, as soon as I say that, he starts blinking. The blinking issue and then just getting kicked out of the race, just so unfortunate. Maggio getting loose back there, and these guys, not what you want to see as you are racing near him, but you can't even tell where Jurgensmeyer is, as these two going side by side for P2.
Yeah, right now that 68 frozen machine for Tom Harmon being stuck on that outside, this is going to end up being like a conveyor belt of cars to his inside if he cannot find the gap soon to fill and get on down, as now the 03 of Jamie Wright looks to his inside. They're going to end up side by side. Behind them, you see the 2 of Josh Taylor, and then the 1 of John Hernandez, Jimmy Cocker, Brody Falker, Francis Hamilton, and Matt Sisler to round out the top 10. But Eliza, on a track as short as this, there's action everywhere.
Absolutely. It looks like our top 5 drivers are all chase drivers besides Jamie Wright in that 03. So he's kind of mixing things up a little bit up here. You see him move up into 3rd. Thomas Harmon, who did lead the race, he moves back to P4. Josh Taylor 5th, as Pete was saying earlier. But Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, man, I hope we get that blinking under control for him. But he is looking very, very strong so far.
Yeah, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, he is fast every single week in this Double O. Been in the hunt several times, as it looks like right now, that little bit of a blinking issue is okay. It was happening mostly in the corners. I'm sure he's hoping for a little bit of separation so that won't be an issue. But Stephen Maggio able to work his way on up to P2 with Jamie Wright right behind. As you mentioned, Thomas Harmon sitting P4 after finding a hole to fill, and then Josh Taylor. But Eliza, that Double O, I think he's a lot like Harmon. If he can get to that clean air, it could be lights out.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be very wild out here. But let's take a look at one of our chase drivers, Joe Berg. He is out here riding 30th. He is a chase driver, and that would be because of penalties from last race at Charlotte. He was found at fault for 2 cautions. Unfortunately, that means you got to do a pass-through penalty along with an EOL. So he's got a ways to go to make his place back up here. Really unfortunate to see, but it's Joe. I think we're going to see a caution, get him caught back up, and he'll be good to go.
Yeah, I talked to Joe Berg as they went through all the channels this evening, and he said, hey, Pete, if something happens to me, please, by all means, I don't mind if you pull me up. I promise I'll be cordial in the booth. And then he set out a little bit of a challenge. He goes, I'll definitely be in the top 10 for the night, even though I've got to start with this penalty. I said, Joe, I want you to shoot for the podium. Let's go. Let's fire off Chase Wright. And he says, challenge accepted. So we'll have to see how this 93 rolls throughout the evening.
I love it. Let's do it. All right, Dylan C. Robbie C. him 29th paint scheme tonight. I messaged him and told him I love that paint scheme. Take a look at that beauty. Wonder who made that one. Could it be a possible Rivers Jones? We'll have to find out. I need to ask him for sure.
It's actually where I bought my computer from. How about that?
Okay. Very nice. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer still in the lead out here. Stephen Maggio. P2, these cars are starting to get away from the field just a little bit, putting that gap over Jamie Wright, who's sitting 3rd, just a little ways back. Thomas Harmon going to be 4th, and we have a slew of chase drivers. And as I'm saying that, I'm getting a notification that Dalator possibly has crashed. You see him out here just about half a track away from the remainder of the field, so definitely something happened with him.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if it was just contact with the wall or exactly what happened, but yeah, I got the same notification. Looking back through a lot of these guys, I'm seeing quite a few that have already gained some decent spots. I mean, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, our leader, he's up 5. Jamie Wright right now sitting P3, he's up 5 spots. Jimmy Cocker back in P7, he's up 5 spots. Andrew Sanford and Connor Cunningham sit positions 10 and 11. They're both up 6 spots. Brendan Book in 17th, he's up 7 spots. So a lot of big movers, and it's still very early. Only working lap 17, coming to 18 of 200 tonight here at Richmond.
Absolutely. take it through. We got Jarrett Cardwell in 17th. Quite the battle between him and Brendan Book just a second ago. Jose Ruiz in 18th, up 2 spots. Rivers Jones, he started to make his way back through the field. He currently sits P19. He was your pole sitter, got loose on the first 2 laps and had an amazing save, kept it off the wall. Here he is in 19th. Philip Bridgman in 20th. Austin Mitty, our driver spotlight of the night. Take a look at that beautiful Napa car. I think that looks prettier than the actual Napa car. Just
I agree
my
with
opinion. Yeah. He's sitting 22nd with Micah Allard 23rd, Brian Pizzikemi 24th, and David Moransky P25.
Yeah, how about Mike Allard bringing out a brand new scheme for Nitro Motorsports? Usually a reddish or maroonish color, but very, very nice scheme for him to pick up where you left off. Tom Flickroft, try saying that fast 5 times. Sitting 26th down the spot. Jordan McGraw, old J-Mac, started in the 27th position in that Texas machine. He's still right where he sets. The 16 of Dylan Robb, 28th, just behind him. Kevin Dallatore, as you mentioned, a little bit of an issue. Win that number 92 Harp machine. And then last but not least, Joe Berg in that number 93, down 4 spots and running tail end Charlie on the field as the car right behind him got a little loose off the exit.
Yeah, Joseph Turley looks like he got pretty loose there, managed to save it, and I think we're going to see a few of those tonight. We've already seen at least 2 or 3, but this is one of those tracks. As this track, the sun goes down, it's going to get tighter and tighter, but for right now, they still got their hands full, so there's not a lot of aggressive driving at the moment. You just really have to be in it for the long haul. As you see that 12 machine trying to go side by side, trying to make a move over that 13.
Well, another guy making a move, and that's to the front. Talking about 4-time winner this evening, Steven Maggio, able to get around that 00 Chevrolet of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Maggio, again, 4 wins on a season, looking for win number 5 if he can get it. But Eliza, there's a lot of racing yet to go, and another one of those drivers, if he gets to the front and he's controlling the pace of the race, and he's the first one to see any kind of lap cars that may be coming up, he may be difficult to deal with as the race goes on.
Absolutely. David, I see you out there. Hope you're doing well. Says, sitting here watching this and ate some very spicy chips. My tongue is on fire. I gotta know what kind of spicy chips we talking about. Speaking of spicy, talking about Steven Maggio. He is looking good out here. As he said, 4 wins of the season. The last one was 3 races ago at Iowa.
Wasn't there some kind of a chip challenge not too long ago where you could only eat one? They were so spicy. I think each chip actually came in its own individual package. It was ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It doesn't even sound good.
I remember Tony Stewart. They went out to some diner and they were live on, it was either Twitch or something at the time, and yeah, somebody in his crew was challenged to do it and didn't end so well.
On board with Thomas Harmon. He's down 2 spots. We saw him in the front. He started P2 down to P4, but take a look at this. Go on board with him and see how Richmond is driving out here. It looks like Jamie Wright possibly got onto the wall a little bit. I know the graphics may show it, but on his screen he may not have. But you can see these guys getting a little tail happy coming off these exits. But Thomas Harmon taking it easy through here.
Yeah, I mean, turn 2 comes up very, very quick. Sometimes you actually end up giving it a little bit more wheel than you actually need to, as it looks like the 42 of Brody Falliker looks underneath the 2 of Josh Taylor, but it looks like Josh is going to be able to let that pass go and fill in right behind Falliker, as looks like Falliker and Taylor and the 1 of Hernandez, each and every one of them running that chase color or chase banner.
Absolutely. David says Pringles Hot Ones, Las Calientes. Oh, okay. I didn't even know they have that, so I might have to check them out. Jimmy Cocker out here riding 8th, up 4 spots from where he started. Andrew Sanford, new paints came for him in that 37, sitting 9th, up 7 spots, so a nice gain for Andrew out here. Francis Hamilton, man, you know, we just saw such a run with him where he was qualifying up there, running up there, and take a look at him up in the top 10, out in the chase. You gotta love it. So he's another driver where I think we're gonna see a win from him sooner than later.
Yeah, same thing with the 45 and Matt Sisler. I can remember several highlights with him in that number 45 machine. No doubt he's going to have a great run this evening. Not part of the chase, but each and every one of these out here to be as competitive as possible. Right now sitting P11 with Connor Cunningham just behind. But Eliza, right now the biggest mover of above all is in 13th, talking about that number 5 Chevy for the one and only Brendan Book, up 11 spots so far. If he continues that march through the field as we've been all green, so he's made up all those spots under green, this could be a great night for Brendan.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our leader, Stephen Baggio. He's got a second lead over our second place, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. So he's starting to gap the field quite a bit here. Now our concern is going to be, how are his tires doing? How is he going to be in the long run? Remember, stage 1 will end on lap 60. At the conclusion of lap 60, our top 10 drivers will receive bonus points for finishing in the top 10 for that stage. So we'll see how it goes. But Maggio, he is on quite the run, and we do have a little bit of a racing here going on. Brody Folliker in third, up 8 spots from where he started. He is definitely making his way through the field. That's our Xfinity champ from last season.
Yeah, you're talking about the gap that Stephen Maggio was getting up until Brody Fowler taking over P3. He had been faster than second and third for the last 5 consecutive laps. But as Brody Fowler took over P3, Fowler was actually faster than the leader 3 of those last 5 laps. So Fowler absolutely on the move.
Yeah, a little bit of contact with that 03. Almost these guys getting extremely loose after that contact, but still managed to hold on to it. But Brody really trying to make the run to try to get up here. I know Charlotte did not go the way he had hoped. In fact, he said most Charlotte races have not. So he's looking to make a comeback, as this is the start of the chase. Every race is important. And with these guys having bonus points coming in here, some of these guys, especially Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, they're at a huge deficit in points. So you have to nail each and every race.
You're not wrong, and 42 still trying to find a way around that 00. And just as I say that, gets a great launch off of turn number 2, all the way down the backstretch. She finds the 00 up in that second lane. The 03 of Jamie Wright trying to follow through, but the 00 able to slam that door shut. Move Brody Fowler now up 9 spots to P2. This man's a wheelman. He proves it each and every week, and he's coming after Maggio.
Jamie Wright being a little aggressive out there. He gives the bumper to the 00 in the corner. We'll see how 00, responds to that. You can see right at the quarter panel, the 03 is going to try to make a move on the 00 and try to make a move that will be for P3 from 4th for Jamie Wright in that 03.
How about right now, Thomas Harmon sitting P5. He's down 3 spots from the beginning. We saw him stuck on that outside line in the first few laps, which made him go back a few, but the man is forever consistent. If there was ever anybody that I would actually want as a driver coach for myself while out there on track or spotting for me, it would be Tom Harmon, giving me ideas or suggestions on where to lift, how much throttle to give, if you're going to touch any brakes to set the nose, whether you need to save fuel, doing all the calculations. It would be that guy right there. He's phenomenal in anything that he pilots at any time of day or night.
Oh, absolutely. I'm in a Wednesday night league with him, and if I happen to be near him, if I'm right behind him, I'm using him as a guideline. What should be my pace? Where should I be going? When should I be pitting? He's my reference point right there, because he's just so solid in anything that you put him. So a ton of talent out there for you, and that's why he's in the chase. He's got Jimmy Cocker right behind him, though. Sitting P6, Francis Hamilton 7th, Jonathan Hernandez in 8th, and Josh Taylor 9th, another chase driver. And then Andrew Sanford going to round out the top 10 in his new paint in that 37.
Yeah, Matt Sisler right now sitting P11 in that number 45. Just mentioned him with Connor Cunningham in that number 3 National Guard scheme. Kind of like that 3 on there versus the 88. It's a nice look. Brendan Book, we just mentioned him sitting P13, up 11 spots in that HendrickCars.com number 5. Luke Allen qualified 14th in that number 7, still right where he runs in that Columbia machine. Rivers Jones fell to the back after getting loose on lap 1. Took a nice little ride through the grass, kept it off the inside wall, and so far worked his way back into the top half of the field. Sitting P15, 16th, up 4 spots. That number 23 for Team FTR. Talking about Jose Ruiz, guy's quiet on track every single week. But as we've seen, things go his way. He doesn't get wrapped up in something else. He's very, very steady. Jared Cardwell right now sitting 17th in that number 12 Ford. John Honeycutt up 10 spots also in that number 50 for Team FTR, as him and Jared Cardwell battling for position. 19th right now is going to be Brian Pizzichemi in that number 78, also up 10 spots. And to round out the top 20, talking about the one and only Micah Allard, down 16. But I look for him to make some big moves as the race goes on.
Absolutely. Tom Flitcroft is going side by side with Matthew Gale. This is going to be for 21st. So these two are 21st, 22nd. Joseph Turley, 23rd, with Philip Bridgman not too far behind, sitting P24. 25th is going to be Jordan McGraw, up 2 spots from where he started. Austin Mitty, our driver spotlight, in that 9 machine, sitting 26, with Dylan Robb sitting 27th. David Moransky has fallen back a few spots, sitting P28. He's ran, I do believe this is going to be his second race with this season, and he said, I'm going to start in the back. I said, this could, have a couple of cautions. And he said, well, that is exactly why I'm going to start in the back, get my feel for everything, see how it goes, and we'll take it from there. Kevin Dallator, we saw him get loose earlier. Something happened with him. He's 29th, and Joe Berg, P30.
Yeah, I just saw the 5 of Brendan Book go on around Kevin Dallator. And as you mentioned, Joe Berg in that number 93. He's got the 12 of Jared Cardwell right now right up his trumpet, and the 50 of John Honeycutt just ahead. But back up front, it's still all Steven Maggio right now, with almost a 3-second gap between him and Brody Falliker. Looks like Maggio right now is the class of the field as far as speed over the last 5 laps. Jamie Wright rounding out the top 3.
Yeah, how about that? Steven is going to start catching some of these guys, putting them a lap down. So very interesting. But here we have the field, and take a look at that gap. You can see Steven Maggio going on by, and we're going to have Brody Falliker, Jamie Wright, Harmon, and the rest of the field. But crowded track, there's not a lot of space. There's not a car, so really, really fun to watch.
I tell you what, I'm looking at all these banners on all of these chasers, and as I look through the top 10, top 12, I'm seeing a lot of them as these are the guys that we're talking about week in and week out. Whether it's a road course, short track, super speedway, cookie cutter, mile and a half track, whatever it might be, these guys are the ones up front or up front when it matters most, as Barney throws those checkers at the end of the race. Tom Harmon now down 2, but working his way back up, and Jimmy Cocker up 7. So there's a lot of movement in this field. A lot of guys carrying some great speed as we're going into our 55th lap, Eliza.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of stage 1, so we will have the top 10 drivers get those bonus points, and these chase drivers want those. And don't count out the drivers that are not chase drivers. Jamie Wright has been up here the entire time. He is not a chase driver. He is wanting every point he can get, trying to make his way through the field. He wants a win. Any driver that is not a chase driver, they all want that win. They know they can do it. So we'll see what happens here. But, man, it is going to be extremely tight, but only 6 more laps, so we hit end of stage 1.
Yeah, Steven Maggio's going to... right now, he is very, very steady getting into and coming off the corner, as we've seen all season long. He's been driving these, Carl Edwards Aflac colors since joining Shake and Bake, and He's definitely going to be a man to be reckoned with over these final 6 races here in season 5. I think Brody Falliker and Jimmy Cocker and Jurgensmeyer and Hernandez, I think they're all going to have a lot to say about who walks away with the trophy this year. But man, they might all have to get or go through Maggio.
And we were just talking at almost a 3-second lead, and now let's take a look at the lead now. We're at over 3.5 seconds, so he is just absolutely doing something right here, saving those tires, and he's got the speed too, so that is definitely difficult to do. And you see the 7-11, this is me, David Moransky, into the wall. He's still holding on to it, but man, you do that a couple more times and that toe link could break, or not the toe link, that's a different car. I keep saying that for this one, but keep thinking I'm in the next gen. But yeah, you don't want that damage out there for sure.
Kind of really like that camo with that U.S. Army scheme on top. Kind of brings me back a little bit of Mark Martin, maybe some Joe Nemechek from back in the days. But I like that digital camo underneath. Very, very nice tribute machine from David Moransky as he comes on by the start stripe heading into turns 1 and 2.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a look, see what some of these battles are doing out here. We have a nice little pack happening, and that is going to be started with Jonathan Hernandez. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer has fallen back. We saw him at the front of the pack. I mean, he's still up here in the top 10, but not as far front as he was. He's sitting at P9th currently, right behind Hernandez. And then we have Matt Sisler in 10th, who's just done a phenomenal job. I feel like he had really bad luck at the start, and now things are starting to turn around for him. And knock on wood, because I don't want to switch that for him. Same with Josh Taylor, who's next to him. Josh has done a fantastic job, got a win out here, got himself into the chase. Now we need to keep him and get him in the top 10 and keep him there.
Yeah, Josh Taylor just was trying to look underneath the 45 on Matt Sisler. Yeah, Josh Taylor got that win at Bristol this year, and I want to tell you, that was the highlight of his season. I don't think it was just because he actually got the win. It's just where it was at. He really felt like if you can win it at Bristol, you can literally win anywhere. I'd like to see him come on up here and get after it as he had to slow up or check up for that 45 just a moment. That allowed the 5 of Brendan Book to have a great look to the inside, but it looks like the 3 of Cunningham might have something to say about that.
Yeah, Connor Cunningham, we saw him actually into the wall. I think he's struggling a little bit out here on the long run, and we did have lap 60, stage 1 come to a finish here, so we are on stage 2, which will be 140 laps the remainder of the race as we are headed under the lights. But I have a feeling these drivers are going to be coming down pit lane soon enough. But man, I'm seeing a lot of contact with the wall here, Pete.
Yeah, a lot of cars kind of tagging that outside wall with the right rear, some with the right front, which is definitely not what you want to do. Even though it's not a very big aero track, any damage will affect the way that your car handles as the 51 comes across the 16 of Dylan Robb. Robb right now is the last car on the lead lap, running 27th, and Austin Mitty running 26th, just ahead of him as Eliza, our first yell, is flying.
Like somebody was keying up on your
It
radio
might have to
ago.
do with Kevin Dallator. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what exactly happened here. You see him on the 92 on the outside. He's got the 50 coming up underneath him. And looks like he just moved down the track a little bit, right across the 50's nose. Looks like he might have parked it there, Pete.
Yeah, Kevin Dallator, he was having some issues earlier with a ill-handling car. He kind of was pulling to the inside. I wonder if that's exactly what he was doing there as well, and just may have underestimated the closing speed of John Honeycutt. But everybody will be coming down pit road this time. Grab 4 brand new Eagle Field Goods. Coming to pit road, be working lap 68. And Eliza, we're getting closer and closer to halfway in this 200 lapper from Richmond.
Yeah, it's going by extremely quick, kind of wild out here. I was hoping to have a chat with Kevin Dallator, but I don't see him in the comms out there over the radio. But no surprise with all these drivers coming in. I mean, a perfect time. You have a break here, and we've run almost 70 laps. David Moransky Looks like he is staying out. Very interesting call. I wonder if he'll go in next time around. Joe Berg, you see him out here. He had to pay a penalty pass through at the start of the race. I know he's hoping to get his lap back.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there were a few guys that had to start with a lot of time to make up, a lot of spaces to make up. Steven Maggio brought the field on the pit road. Looks like he's going to go ahead and lead them off. Tom Harmon's going to leave pit road second. Jamie Wright third. Brody Falliker fourth. Jimmy Cocker fifth. Francis Hamilton, Jonathan Hernandez, Andrew Sanford, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, and Matt Sisler will be first through 10th when we take the green flag here in just a couple laps.
Steven Maggio, already a favorite to win out in chat. He says, I think the 51 might win it. He is dominant tonight. I agree. He is got a very dominating car out here, just looking really, really solid. Thomas Harmon going to be in second, but if you have someone that you think is going to win, put it out in chat. I want to see who it is. But yeah, Maggio just looking extremely strong. I know he would love a 5th win of the season. Next driver up for that, I do believe, would be Falliker at 2 wins. So he's got 2 more wins than the next guy.
Yeah, I mean, that 51 has been very, very strong with 4 wins. You're talking about stage wins, the overall wins, which gives you max points. So the regular season was very, very good to the 51. Well, the 68 started on the outside for the start of this race. Not quite sure he wants to do this again, but we're about to go back green flag. Lights top the pace car are out. Everybody's all racked and stacked back up. Going down the backstretch right now, Eliza heading towards 3 and 4. Barney's got the green flag in the air already, ready to set these guys off one more time.
Yeah, fresh tires once again. It's going to take these guys a second to adjust with how these are going to handle. Think about you've been on older tires for 70 laps, but here we go. The 51 with a fantastic start. Often running past the start-finish line and through 1 and headed into 2. A couple of drivers making some contact with that outside wall. They're made it to the backstretch.
Yeah, big shot by the 42 with the 48 right behind him. 42 looks like he might have missed the entrance to the corner. He is way up high, having to really turn that wheel left as he's got his Team FIWB teammate just underneath him in that Virginia Tech number 11.
Side by side with the 11. He's got the 48 behind the 68 ahead. This track is extremely crowded once again. They were spread out before this, but man, oh man, restarts will stack him back up, and the 51 is still out in the lead, having a fantastic run out here, but that 03 not letting him get away this time. We know the 03 has the long run speed. He's got the short run speed. Let's see if the 51 can defend it.
Yeah, that 03 very, very strong. Of course, again, talking about Jamie Wright in that Ford Mustang Dark Horse. A little bit of a gap now between Jamie Wright and Tom Harmon. Harmon may be thinking to himself, you know what, you go on up there, see if you can't take a lap from Maggio as you guys battle it out. I'll catch you back up on the flip side. Jimmy Cocker also looks like he was able to take over P number 4 all to himself as the 48 of Francis Hamilton goes high. The 42 looks low, nothing there. First through about 6th or 7th, all single file. And just as I say that, the 11 throws it deep, way underneath the 68.
Still seeing a lot of drivers hit that outside wall. Man, you can just see the smoke coming off the wall from the contact. Very, very interesting. But Jimmy Cocker, a great restart run for him as he sits P3 up 9 spots from where he started in the race. Thomas Harmon in 4th. Francis Hamilton, again, Pete mentioned, he is up here. And man, great run. Brody Falliker side by side with that one machine. That one, Jonathan Hernandez, coming off of a win last week at Charlotte, looking to go back to back. But I don't know if anyone's going to have anything for Steven Maggio. Just completely dominant out here. Just phenomenal job.
Yeah, going back to the one of Mr. Hernandez. I mean, clutch win last week. putting himself or locking himself into the chase. And I mean, he's been strong all season, just hadn't been able to put a full race together. He did just that as he takes the spot from the 42 around the outside, now setting his sights on the 48 of Francis Hamilton. Connor Cunningham right now finding himself behind the 42 of Brody Falker, now up 9 spots to P8. Andrew Sanford and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer round out the top 10.
Nice little battle going on here. This is going to be Rivers Jones and Matt Sisler for P11. We'll see who comes out ahead, but man, still side by side. The 45 going to fall back a little bit as he is on the outside, a little solo. He's going to tuck in behind Rivers Jones for P12. Brendan Book going to be 13th. Josh Taylor right behind in that 2 machine sitting 14th. John Honeycutt in the 50 car 15th, and Mike Allard going to be P16.
I tell you what, how about Rivers Jones? Started on pole, had a little bit of an issue, got really loose, ended up sliding through the grass, keeping it off the inside wall. He went all the way to the last spot. And with that caution and the speed that he's got in that number 91 Izzy and Jay Soko machine, he just now cracked the top 10. Eliza, if he goes back to the front and leads a lap, he will have officially passed the most amount of cars out here on track this evening.
Absolutely incredible. And just listen to his engine. You have to take it so easy. There's so much let off and braking here at Richmond. You have to get a rhythm going, and once you get into that rhythm, it makes it so much easier. But when it is hard when you're around so many cars and trying to make those passes, you have to be very definitive when you're trying to make those passes and decide when are you going to do it, how long are you going to fight for it. And we can already see him trying to make a pass, and that's going to be over the 37 of Andrew Sanford.
Yeah, able to get around the 37 goes Jones. And yeah, I mean, you are using quite a bit of brake here really to try to set the nose of that car. That way you can get back in the throttle as he now goes ahead and looks underneath the number 3 of Connor Cunningham, washing up just a little bit, keeping it off the door of that National Guard machine across the front stretch. Across Barney's nose one more time. They go into turns 1 and 2. 91 having to check up a little bit for the 42 of Brody Falker as he stays side by side with the 3.
Anyone going to take it down low underneath that 3 machine who has once again hit the wall. I can imagine his handling is going to be quite affected with that contact with the wall several times now. But Rivers just on the move. He knows he's got to make something happen as these cars are still relatively close together. So if he wants to get up to the front here, now is the time to do it. We're coming up 85 of 200, almost to the halfway point. Still a lot of racing left, but man, Rivers Jones, you can tell he wants to get up to the front and race it for the win.
Yeah, he's got the confidence in the car, especially putting down a great lap in qualifying. Even with how loose these machines are, able to grab the pole to fire off the chase. And Eliza, as I go through the field, back to about P16 sits John Honeycutt, Mike Allard, and Jose Ruiz. John Honeycutt sitting P16 now up 12 spots. At about the midway point, you would be, depending on what happens here with Brendan Book and a couple others, he could very well be the biggest mover in the race so far. That Team FTR driver trying to make something happen this evening.
Absolutely. Take a look at our top 3 drivers. They have put a gap over the rest of the field. Maggio, Jimmy Cocker, and Jamie Wright all bunched up together. The 51 is not getting away this time around. Thomas Harmon going to lead this second pack. He's got Francis Hamilton, Jonathan Hernandez, Brody Falker all in tow, and racing side by side is going to be Brody Falker and Jonathan Hernandez. These guys and a lot of company around each other. It is not going to be easy to get away, but Stephen Maggio, man, he's got 2 in tow with him, and these guys are off and running, getting ready to run into some traffic.
Yeah, between Francis Hamilton, Tom Harmon, Brody Falker, Jonathan Hernandez, Rivers Jones. I mean, these guys are all 2x2. It looks like they just took the green. And of course, just as I say that, they're going to whittle out just a little bit as the 42 gets on around the 68 of Harmon. Harmon little loose on exit. That's going to allow the 1 and now the 91 to pull to his outside. Maybe a little bit more heat up in that second group. Harmon loses another one.
File line at the moment for this second pack. We have Joe Berg trying to make his way through the field as the leaders are coming by. But man, what a fantastic race, though. Our first race of the chase. You know, these chase drivers really wanting to put in a solid finish, all of them going for that win. It comes down to the finish where on that final race, who has the most points? Steven Maggio already leading in the points with the most. So, if he wins here tonight, these other drivers have a lot of making up to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the next two races, Talladega and then Watkins Glen. Talladega is literally a crapshoot. Anybody could win. We might even have a brand new winner on the season, which could play spoiler to all the chasers that want max points if the 51 should go ahead and win this evening. I don't know what Larry Mack's trends would be as far as, has the leader, the guy that's led the most laps here at Richmond won the race here in Shake and Bake over the last, 4 now as we're working on our 5th season, or what the deal may be. But I tell you what, Maggio firing off the chase very, very strong. But that 11 Jimmy Cocker, he's no slouch. He's up 10 spots, taking over P number 2. And as you mentioned, Jamie Wright in that 03, he's been right there all night long as well. Maybe saving a little bit. That way he's got something to fire off with later on.
Absolutely. I'm watching these guys in car, and that 3 machine extremely loose coming off the X's. Almost lost it, in fact, but he managed to hold on to it. But a lot of fishtailing for these guys. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, not sure what's going on with him, but he's fallen back to P16. It's got Brian Pizzakemi directly behind him in 17th and Jose Ruiz in 18th. Meanwhile, David Moransky out here in 28th on pit lane. Not quite sure what happened to him. Hopefully we'll see him make a comeback out on the track. But Steven Maggio, he's starting to put a gap on these gentlemen once again.
Yeah, Steve Maggio, very, very consistent. You mentioned something earlier that this track is all about, and that is rhythm. If you can get into the rhythm of the corners and just the right amount of brake, the right amount of throttle, your throttle points, where you need to get on a brake, where you need to get off the throttle, and maybe just decrease throttle, don't just dump it. There's a whole lot that you can do at a place like Richmond. And right now, once Steven Maggio has got to the front, he's been able to keep a few with him temporarily. But as we saw up to that first caution, Eliza, he was pulling away. He's doing it again.
Once again, yeah, almost up to a second gap over Jamie Wright, who has moved into second place, up 6 spots from where he started. Just had a strong showing all night for this 03. Great to see him out here doing so well. Jimmy Cocker sitting P3, and I feel like he's had a couple of races where I was surprised to see him mid-pack, so it's great to see him back up here in this 3rd spot for that 11 machine. He's got such a strong car, always does a great job out here. I would love to see him at least in podium, if not a win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Cocker, he is, I still remember the inaugural race for Shake and Bake at Daytona. Never, ever talked to Jimmy Cocker, never saw him in any other leagues or anything like that. And he came across and won the first race ever for Shake and Bake.
Right.
That was the first season that I broadcasted for Shake and Bake. Now into season 5, he's got 2 wins on the season, including a win at Daytona in his old throwback scheme. So very strong each and every week. Better at some tracks, just like most of us. Right now running P3, and he's got Brody Falker, last season's champ, right behind him. I've mentioned it a time or two, Eliza. These guys finished 1-2 last season, and it seems like many times throughout the season so far, we seem to find these guys very, very close to each other. that just, again, shows how consistent and how competitive these guys are week after week.
Yeah, the competition out here is just unreal. I mean, a lot of these guys have been racing since season 1 for SMB on iRacing, so it's just really cool to see how much they've grown and how much the competition has grown over the seasons. And we've talked to the drivers, and they said, you know, when I ask them who their biggest competitor is, they're always just saying, it's just so tough out here. There's so much competition, and I feel like I have a lot of growing to do. It's just fun to watch it as these guys make their way up through the field and get it done. And Flying Reds Farm, I see you out there. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a great night, but man, almost a second and a half. Steven Maggio says he's on pit lane, but he is definitely not. He's out here leading the race by almost a second and a half.
Yeah, he continues to pull away by just a little bit now, 1.4, 1.5 over Jamie Wright. Jamie Wright has a rear view full of the 11. The 11 rear view kind of blinking out just a little bit. 42 having some connection issues possibly. Hopefully Brody Falker's internet doesn't fall by the wayside. He definitely needs a great finish as he now pulls to the outside of his Team FIWB teammate. And the 11's going to be stuck on that inside. There's a lot of speed and going into and off of these corners. Looks like the 42 should be clear on exit.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to secure that third spot. Jimmy Cocker moves to fourth, and Jamie Wright still out here in second, just over a second and a half behind Maggio. But take a look at all these chase drivers. We have at least 7 or 8 in the top 10, so just doing a fantastic job. We got Jamie Wright, Sanford, and Cunningham in the top 10 who are not a chase driver. And I see you out there, Polish Hammer. What happened with you? He says Richmond is the worst track to race with a foot injury.
Ooh.
I'm surprised you even tried it, I'll be honest, because yeah, it is definitely a challenging track out there.
Yeah, one issue that I've got, I have no brake pedal. Well, I do have a brake pedal, but I don't know how to use it very well. Yeah, I've got nothing. That's why I'm not very good at road courses or these tracks where you've got to use brake to try to set the nose in order to get the car to rotate. But one car that's absolutely rotating very well is that 42. I see through the corner, he's able to really roll up on the back end of that 03 quite a bit and able to get back in the throttle pretty well as well. That 42 looks pretty sturdy as they come across the line. Eliza, we are 110 laps in, 90 more laps to go. This race is absolutely flying by. We've only been going now about an hour. These guys still clicking off laps in the 22, 23 second bracket, and just time is flying by.
One caution, I believe, of the night.
Yep.
So a very, very clean race, and I'm going to say it, knock on wood. Don't want to jinx these guys, but here goes the 42 trying to make a pass over that 03. This is going to be for that second spot. That's going to help out Maggio as he is almost 2.5 second gap over the second spot. But man, these two still going at it side by side down the front stretch here into turn 1.
Yeah, I tell you what, the 42 threw it in there, and the 03 did a great job of pinching the 42 down. That disallows the 42 of Brody Falker to really open up the wall and get in the throttle, let that machine eat coming up off the corner. So 03 able to keep them behind. Now the 11's going to try the outside of the 42 as well. No run there. Brody Falker is going to be able to keep P3 for now.
Going on board with Brody Folliker, just getting really loose coming off that exit. No surprise. I mean, it's just a very loose track, especially as you're going off it too. You can see him really trying to hold on to it and keep that machine underneath him. We're coming up on the start-finish line, headed one lap 114 of 200. And man, Brody is making me a nervous wreck. I bet he's holding on for dear life.
Yeah, that RJ Creative machine, very, very loose. During practice, track temp was right around 92, 93 degrees. It dipped down into the 80s during qualify. Right now, back up to 93 degrees again. So these guys feeling what it was like during practice, and everybody else that's watching the race could see what these guys were dealing with during that hour-long practice as well. Very, very slick out there. These guys going around track really starting to build a lot more heat into it.
You know, and when I was making practice laps out here, you're really heating up that oil temp. I mean, I was hitting at least 245, 247 when you're on your fastest laps out there. You're in the red. So much coming off of coming off of 4 into 1. Once you get the tires worn and you can't run that fast, it goes down. But man, at the start, when it's so loose and hot out there, that those temps really do heat up.
Yeah, it looks like not only is the 42 experiencing some loose conditions, the 03 also starting to have some issues of his own. Jimmy Cocker in that Virginia Tech number 11 machine, still running in that second lane. If he's having any kind of loose issues, he might be working with a little bit of that banking that's there to try to keep that machine underneath him. Right now, Francis Hamilton sitting P5, Jonathan Hernandez 6th, Andrew Sanford 7th, Rivers Jones up to 8th, Connor Cunningham 9th, and 10th going to be Tom Harmon, as Connor Cunningham and Tom Harmon battling for position.
Yeah, Harmon, he won 2 weeks ago at Darlington, his first win of the season, and then his teammate won the very next week. That is Hernandez. A great couple of weeks for Output Racing out there. The 3 goes right on that apron, has to not slide up and put on the brakes a little bit and allows the 68 to go through, but Matt Sisler right on the outside looking in of that top 10, sitting P11th, Josh Taylor 12th, Micah Allard 13th, Brendan Book 14th, up 10 spots, Brian Pizzakimi 15th, and John Honeycutt going to be 16th.
Yeah, 17th right now is going to be Jose Ruiz. He's up a few with Jarrett Cardwell in the 12. Sitting P18. Tom Flickroff, good to see him back on track this week, sitting 19th. Luke Allen, 20th. Matt Gale down a couple, sitting 21st, with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer behind him. That 00 very, very fast. The beginning of the race definitely fallen off as the evening has rolled on. Jordan McGraw up 4, 23rd. Austin Mitty, our spotlight driver, sitting 24th. 25th is going to be Dylan Robb. Philip Bridgman, 26th, Joe Berg, 27th, Moransky, 28th, Joe Turley, 29th, and Kevin Dallator rounding out the field in P30.
All right, Pete, this 51 is still leading, but, well, it seems to be the calm right now. Let's take a look at the Izzy and Jay Company. They do have those natural handmade soaps that they have so crafted out there by hand. They have beard balms, tattoo butters. They benefit your family. Great for the environment. They're safe on your sensitive skin, and I think I just
What you got going on out there, bud?
Yeah, caution number 2 is going to fly in the evening. Looks like Jose Ruiz and possibly Tom Flickroff might have something to do or something to say about the second yellow. Working lap 123. That's going to slow down the field. Looked like Jose Ruiz was sideways coming off 2.
You can see him just losing it coming off of 2 there. And man, the 8 almost misses it, but he did technically miss it, but had to woe it up so much that he also spun out. 23 going to be into the wall a little bit, but you can see our leader, the 51, making his way on by.
Yeah, Tom Flickroff looks like he was able to keep that number 8 Bud machine off of the inside wall. I think the 23 might have kissed it just a tad. If there's any damage to either of those machines, either from the outside or inside wall, they should be able to get most of that fixed up. But Eliza, everybody coming on down for their second set of Eagle Feel Good tires and head on back out. We should go back green right around lap 127 of 200 here from Richmond.
Yeah, no surprise that these guys are going in. I do believe our last time going in was also for a caution. So Stephen Maggio going to have to defend his position once again, as we're going to be coming back to green shortly on lap 125 of 200 currently. But man, oh man, this is going to be a wild restart once again. You see that 51 beating the field off of pit lane here. The 42 right behind him with a great stop. Jamie Wright in 3rd, Francis Hamilton 4th, and Jimmy Cocker going to round out your top 5.
Yeah, Brody Falliker able to work his way on up. It'll be interesting to see what that number 42 for Brody Falliker is going to be able to do or capable of doing. We saw him getting really, really loose in the long run. Meanwhile, Maggio very, very steady in the long run. But Eliza, clean air means everything, and that was all over the nose of that Aflac 51 for Steven Maggio. So this restart could absolutely be key for Brody Falliker.
Yeah, I want to have a chat with Steven Maggio out here, just having a crazy, fantastic run out here tonight. Steven, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy that caution came out because I did not want to have to decide between splitting it in half or trying to run long and catch a caution because, I didn't want to like pit in 15 laps and then what just happened to Connor where the caution comes out and you're like 2 laps down or whatever. So, feeling
Are
good.
we able to make it this for the remainder of the race?
Yeah, everyone should be good here. We had around 105 laps of fuel per gas tank, so.
That answers that. How's your car in the long run? I mean, you just look like the longer it goes, the more gap you put on the remainder of the field.
Yeah, I think it's best on the long run, honestly. That first run we had before the caution came out, I felt like I was really starting to put some time on the field right before that yellow came out. So just hoping that it could just stay smooth. And honestly, I'd love for it to go green to the end here. I think I have a pretty good chance if it does. And just gonna try to, hit all my marks and not make mistakes and yeah, bring it home.
All right, we'll let you bring it on home here. We're getting ready to go back to green. Good luck moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, you heard it there.
Jimmy Cocker, confident Steven Maggio. That is not what the rest of the field wanted to hear.
Flag.
But he's got a whole bunch of brand new competition up and around him, except for the 03. He's been there all night. 42 caught sleeping. He's on the outside of the 03 now. 03 washing up into that middle groove. 42 blinking out. That could have been really bad as the rest of the field kind of had to check up for him on the exit of the corner.
And I'll tell you what, speaking of a bad start, the 45 just did not go. Stacked up that high side on that restart and really, really fell back. So I'm not sure how happy those drivers are going to be behind him as they're trying to make their way back. But man, interesting restart. And the 42 looked like he hit hard into the wall as he is still blinking out, Pete.
Yeah, 42 definitely having some issues right now. A couple of drivers that no issues whatsoever. Talking about our 2 tied for biggest movers. The 50 of John Honeycutt sitting P11, and Brian Pizzicemi, the consummate guy that just does not qualify. I think he loves the challenge of trying to work his way up through the field. They are nose to tail right behind the 68 of Harmon and the 61 of Micah Allard.
You heard it from Steven Maggio. They do not have to go in to make another pit stop. These guys are good on fuel, just have to save and hold on to the tire out here. Steven Maggio already putting a gap over Jamie Wright, who's sitting P2. Meanwhile, Brody Falliker still blinking out there. Jimmy Cocker just, right behind him, holding on for dear life. And John Honeycutt, I get a notification that he reckless. Try to take a look, see what happened.
Yeah, well, you take a look and see what happened there. Steven Maggio just going shake and bake purple, posting the fastest lap of the evening at a 21.7. A lot of other guys in the 21s as well, but he's been a man on the mission all evening long, trying to extend that lead.
And John Honeycutt just drove it into the quarter panel of Thomas Harmon. I'm not sure what was going on there, but lost control after going into that corner and somehow did not get any damage. No caution came out, so we're still on and moving, but Thomas Harmon looks like he does not have any damage himself.
No, good for Tom Harmon. Still sitting inside at the tail end of the top 10, but always room to move on up. Working lap 134 of 200. Jamie Wright, very comfortable inside the top 3. Very, very good chance at a podium for the 03 driver. Steven Maggio, very, very confident in what he was just saying during that caution. Brody Falliker having some issues, but it looks like he is very stable now as he's filling up the rear view of Jamie Wright's car. He's got his teammate in that 11 right behind him, and then Jonathan Hernandez rounding out the top 5. Eliza Rivers Jones up to P6.
Yeah, how about that? Just doing a great job after that incident in the first 2 laps has taken the entire race to get back up here, but he's done a phenomenal job making it happen. He's got Andrew Sanford right behind him. And talking about Brody Folliger blinking out earlier, a lot of these drivers, I feel like it's an issue on these restarts where all these guys are just stacked up together, and it's just really difficult on your graphic setting. So when you have this many cars and we're headed into the sunset and the lights are going down, it can be difficult on the PC here. And so I think some of these drivers tend to blink with that.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if it was during the blink, but you had mentioned a few times where that 42 was up into the wall. Well, it looks like he's got some right front damage. I'm not quite sure how that car is handling right now, but the right front quarter panel definitely mashed in over the tire.
Yeah, you can definitely see that damage on that right front. Kind of curious how it is affecting him. It can't be too bad as he has made his way up to that 51. He's going to be right on his tail currently. So I would say that it's not affecting him in a bad way. We'll see if he's able to make the move over that 51 car, but that 51 has just been so dominant tonight, just leading. I would love to know how many laps. But his last lap was a 22:46. Brody's was a 22:38. So he's a little bit faster out here.
Yeah, Brody Falconer very, very quick getting into the corner, but it looks like the 51 of Maggio just a little bit better on exit. That might be due to the damage on the 42. Not 100% sure, but this is the most competition that the 51 has had all evening. Earlier, we saw some kind of stick with him at the onset. Brody Falconer also very, very good at saving tire. Also knows when he has to be aggressive. Right now, these guys 1-2, and we've seen this replay many times throughout the season so far.
Jose Ruiz sitting in 26 with Joe Berg in 27th here. John Honeycutt, after that incident earlier, he's sitting 24th with Connor Cunningham. We saw him up there near the top 10. He's out currently 23rd with Dylan Robb out in 22nd. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, another one we saw up front earlier on. He sits P21st.
Yeah, Luke Allen right now sitting 20th with Philip Bridgman just ahead of him, up a few spots to P19. 18th, Jordan McGraw in that Texas Tech number 34, up 9 with Austin Mitty. 16th is going to be Jarrett Cardwell with Matt Gale right now sitting P15.
Matt Sisler in 14th with Josh Taylor. Down 10 spots from where he started, but he's up here in 13th, having a consistent run tonight. Looks very, very good. Brian Pizzikemi up 17 spots as he normally does not qualify. He's P12 with Brendan Book sitting 11th, and Thomas Harmon, he's in that top 10.
All right, our top 10 looks like Micah Allard in his new colors, sitting P9, that number 61 Chevrolet. Francis Hamilton in that 48, up 1 in, as it looks like caution number 3 is going to fly. One of the guys we just mentioned, Eliza, Matt Gale. Looks like that's going to have something to do with him.
Take a look. He's got that 12 behind him, Matthew Gale. That's where a lot of drivers have been getting loose, and yeah, he just breaks loose. The 12 just barely touches his rear, helps turn him. He makes a tiny bit of contact with the wall, but it shouldn't be extensive damage, and he makes his way back out on track.
All right, Eliza, it's going to be interesting to see whether these guys come down pit road or not, as it looks like most are saying, yeah, come on down from 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods, probably, or what could be the last stop. Oh, looks like the 48 of Francis Hamilton playing a little bit of a game with the field behind him. He's going to stay out to pull up to the back bumper of the iRacing pace car, maybe grab a point for leading a lap. He is a chase contender, and as we've mentioned all season long, every point counts.
You know, I'm thinking that Francis thinks there's going to be another caution. However, I'm a little nervous about the strategy here. You know, these guys are going in, and I would imagine it's just going to be difficult. They might stay out for that next caution, but you see Francis, he's going to take the risk. We'll see if it pays off. I would love to get a chat with him, so let's bring him in the booth here. Francis, it's Eliza in the booth. How you doing out there? I know he warned me it would take a second for his chat to connect, so we'll give him a second, see if he can make some contact with us, have a chat. Definitely interesting strategy for Francis Hamilton. We'll see if he goes in this time around or if he's just going to play strategy call and expect another caution to come out. Either way, it's very interesting.
Francis, it's us up in the booth. You got us? All right, so looks like not Eliza, but yeah. What a great strategy. He might have felt really good about the way that his RJ Creative number 48 Chevrolet was handling. So he wants that clean air, maybe a shot to see what his car would feel like up in the lead. It looks like Steven Maggio and everybody else behind him did go down pit road. So they're going to be on 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods. Doesn't look like anybody back there took 2 to even try to gamble a little bit, except for John Honeycutt. He just took 2 with a pit time of 10:37. But that 48, by virtue of being the control car, he's going to be the first one on the loud pedal. He should be able to clear the 51, take whatever lane he wants, and see if he can't gap who has been the strongest all night long.
It'll be interesting, and I'm kind of curious how they're going to handle with the fresh versus not so fresh tires out here, but it's not too old, so I don't see a huge issue as we come back from this restart. But here we go. The pace car is going to pull off right here, and that 48 machine going to lead us back to green once again. You see it right here. We'll see how they go. Wrong camera. Let's go ahead and bring it back to the start-finish line as we go back to green.
Yeah, you mentioned it, 22 lap older tires as the 51 fully sends it into turns 1 and 2. The 03 not giving any room to the 48 whatsoever, no respect shown. 42 is going to be able to get underneath the 03. 48 is going to go ahead and fall back several spots as they're 3 wide for about P6.
I'm kind of curious what others are going to think in the field about that move right there, not show too kindly to it, as Jamie Wright has made an aggressive move over that 48 machine. And let's take a look. Where is the 48 machine? It has fallen all the way back to 11th, and we see Brian Pizzikemi spinning out. We'll see if the caution comes out. He is still running, somehow saved his machine.
Yeah, we're staying green. There it is. Caution number 4 now out. But this isn't going to be for Pizzikemi. It's actually going to be for the 5 of Brendan Book, who had made up a bunch of spots this evening, but something going on with him.
As that 78 was spinning, these guys were 5 wide.
Wow.
5 wide at Richmond. Now they are currently 4 wide. The 12 and the 5 make contact. 5 tries to save it, unable to do so. Brings it to a stop here in turn 1, and that brought out your caution.
Interesting. We have 4 wide. It looked like it was the slightest touch between Book and somebody to his inside. Pizzikemi was way far back. That tells me that the 5, I don't know if the 5 was just wicked loose on that restart or what the deal was, but Brendan Book's going to have to try to work his way through the field now as the 48 coming down pit road.
Yeah, Francis Hamilton making his way on pit lane, going to get those tires, I guarantee. David, I see you out there. Thank you so much for the sub. 70 months. Just blows my mind. 71 total in a 70-month streak. Absolutely just insane. Thank you so much, David. I so appreciate it. He says, looks like I just got here in time. Great to have you out here. Hope your day was going well. And I'm excited for F1 in a couple days.
Yeah, it's going to be less than a 50-lap heat here to the finish. 51, David, if you're just arriving, Steven Maggio has clearly led the most laps. Came into the chase at the top of the points. A lot of chase drivers inside the top 10. As you can see, they're on the scoring pylon on the left-hand side. Everybody highlighted in orange is in for the championship. This is race 1 of the chase. Glad you're here, David.
Absolutely. I want to have a chat if I can. Are the lights on the pace car out? We'll see.
Nope.
All right, so let's have a chat with Mr. Tom Liddy. Tom Flitcroft here. We'll get him in the broadcast booth. Tom, it's Eliza. How you doing out there?
Hello?
Are you awake?
And I don't even know how I just avoided that. We're just gonna chalk it up to good luck, good fortune. I don't know what's going on or where I am. Is this Richmond? Are we in Virginia?
It is Richmond, and man, you've gained 14 spots for the night. How's it been out there so far?
Man, the car's a little loosey-goosey off the exits, but we're trying to keep the power in check and get a good run off the corner. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this thing, though. Who knows? Hopefully we can get a green flag run to the finish, but you know how these things can go sometimes. So
That
we'll
is
see
true.
we'll see what we can do, and hopefully, you know, make something happen.
Absolutely. Well, I wish you luck. You're looking strong out there and holding on through some of these chaotic moments. So good luck to you moving forward.
Yeah, I was surprised you could see me. I thought I was in camouflage.
You are, but man, we can always see you, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
All
get him,
right,
Tom,
we'll
Tom.
see ya.
Oh, I love that guy. I tell you.
Green flag.
Here we go.
All right,
Back to
Eliza,
green.
back green. Yep.
Oh,
51 on the throttle. 03 able to get that jump with him as well. Brody Falker on that high side, really throwing it in, keeping the 03 in check. Didn't make the same mistake that he did last time. Side by side down the backstretch. 91 of Rivers Jones right there with him as well. Hernandez underneath. Cautions back out.
Guys, let's get some
huge
rags and
one
clean this mess up
midfield here. That's going to
into
be
the boxes, the parts
Jurgensmeyer,
that I'm really
Allen,
concerned about.
Cunningham, Hamilton, Gale, Robb, Berg, Pizzakemi, Brennan Book. You name it. Let's see if we can go back. But man, pure chaos in the field right there.
I don't know, Eliza. Cautions breed cautions. Everybody's all racked and stacked back up again. The 3/4 mile D-shaped oval. You got to get what you can get while the getting's good on these restarts. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it seems like a simple case of just bunched up together. The 3 hits the wall on the outside, and that kind of causes a domino effect, and cars just hitting other cars. And unfortunately, it looks like Jarrett Cardwell's luck did not go as planned tonight. He's got currently sitting P14. Doesn't look like he is going to make his way in, and his card looks okay, so maybe luckier than I thought.
Yeah, it looks like 34 McGraw came on down. So did the 93, as well as a few others. So some people having to fix them up just a bit. Looks like the overall list on pit road: McGraw, Hamilton, Jurgensmeyer, Allen, Gale, Robb, Berg, Pizzakemi, and Connor Cunningham. So quite a few with a little bit of damage in that last caution. And some, Eliza, might be taking that as a last-ditch opportunity. Come on down, grab a set of Eagle Feel Goods, come on back out. Most everybody else was on pit road lap 146. We're coming to lap 160, and we've seen how good those new tires can be.
Absolutely insane. These guys, cautions breed cautions. Hopefully this is the end of it. We'll find out what happened, but want to have a chat with Jarrett Cardwell for Team FTR, if I can find the booth here. I'm trying to get me to that section there. There we go. I think we found it. So many team chats, but Jarrett, it's Eliza in the booth. How you doing out there?
Oh, doing all right. This is a nice little surprise. How's it going?
It's going well. Man, you've had a great run tonight. We've talked about your luck needing to turn around a little bit here, making it through some of these incidents and whatnot. How do you feel like your car's doing and handling so far?
It's a little bit of a struggle, honestly, but I think we're going to get a little bit of strategy at the end of this race, depending on how the tires shake out. Maybe see if we can make something happen.
Hopefully we can get a green flag run to the finish here, but I wish you a ton of luck. You're looking strong, and we just need to get that finish to go with it.
Yep, thanks. I appreciate it. Hope it's fun to watch.
Get him,
Oh,
JC.
it definitely is.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, these guys getting ready to go back to green. But man, tight racing. We've seen a cluster of cautions, but hopefully we'll get that figured out and go green the rest of the way. Heel turn, I see you out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Playoff implications, absolutely. Sober David says recoil off the wall causes a pileup, and I couldn't have said it better myself. But here we go, back to green once again. Same thing stays. Steven Maggio at the front leading the field. You got Jamie Wright directly behind him. Man, these guys are all over the place. Once again, 2x2 all the way through, Pete.
Yeah, really, I mean, great restart. You saw the 51 of Maggio pinching the 42 up towards the outside wall on a restart. That way he was able to turn into the corner with that launch, as it looks like the 42 and the 03 still side by side. Brody Falker able to get a better launch this time than he did last time. They're 2x2 there, the 2x2 behind them, and again another row of 2x2 between the 61 of Micah Allard, who has continued to march his way back forward, as well as Jimmy Cocker and that Virginia Tech number 11 now going to fall in right behind him.
Yeah, you know, I feel like Micah is another sneaky one. You see him just making his way up, but he does it sneakily. And then by the end of the race, he's up here, no doubt, and currently sits P6. And he did start off in 8th, so he's right around where he started. Actually, 4th he started in the race, so he started off right around where he is right now. So very interesting, but we've seen him kind of all over the place tonight, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, Micah is very, very strong. He's got a win on the season. I believe he does anyway. It's kind of hard to keep touch with sometimes, but looks like the 42 finally able to clear the 03, so Brody Falker can now set his sights on the 51, as the 03 now has a new challenger, Rivers Jones, in that Izzy J. Soapco number 91, pulls to the inside, a little bit of a slide job coming off of the corner, and that's going to allow that 61 of Micah to look to the inside of Rivers Jones, try to take that spot away. Hernandez and the 11 now side by side behind him.
On board with Jamie Wright in that 03 up 5 spots from where he started, currently sitting at P3. Rivers Jones trying to do everything he can to make that pass, but Jamie Wright has played in a very aggressive race tonight. We've seen him bump people, try to keep them against the wall, trying to do what he can to preserve his spot, and I'm not sure how much these drivers will appreciate it or how patient they will be. But you see that 91 trying to take a look on the inside, unable to do so, and that is a chase driver right there. Jamie Wright has been the highest non-chase driver in the race so far.
Sorry, caution.
Now it looks like caution 6 is waving. Dylan Robb in his number 16 machine might have something to say about this, right along with Brian Pizzichemi, who I believe up until then was the biggest mover of the evening. Have to see what happened between those two.
Like it started much earlier on. It's going to start with Austin Mitty, so we'll try to go back with them. But man, these yellows, we had a very clean race, and now all of a sudden we're getting these clusters, Pete.
Yeah, and it's getting towards the end of the race. Everybody's vying and trying and being aggressive for every single spot that they can get. I mean, the 42, he was really throwing it deep into the corner. The 91, like you were just kind of alluding to, not quite sure how nice he'd be to the 03, as clearly 91 working his way through the field a couple times. He's got a very fast car, doesn't want to be prohibited, I guess you could say, or he doesn't want to be blocked for positions that he may feel he's earned. The 61 of Micah Allard, we've talked about him. He's fallen back a few spots, able to gain some back. Brendan Book, he's back up to 12th. Matt Sisler inside the top 10, right along with Tom Harmon. I mean, there's a lot of moving and shaking that's going on here in the final bit of this race.
Yeah, there is. Quite a few drivers did choose to go in under this caution here, but you can see all the orange drivers lit up. Those are our chase drivers. Jamie Wright, Micah Allard, and Matthew Sisler are the only drivers not in the chase that are in the top 10.
Well, there goes my whole thing about Micah Allard, whether he had one or not. All right, fair enough. I didn't even think about the banner when I was talking about him. Yeah,
you know what? It happens.
Yeah, you got to set me straight every now and then. I understand. It's okay. But the 42 of Falliker realizes he's going to have yet another shot at this restart on the outside. Very, very strong. I don't think he wants to have to fight the 03 again to try to stay with that 51. He needs a great launch to really play this battle out. And the 91, he doesn't want to see any other cars in his way either. Micah's got places to go. Hernandez winning last week, clutch win. He's now up here in P6. So there's a lot of top speed right up here in the first few rows. You see Harmon there. You see the 48 who stayed out, and then he had fallen back to about 10th. Well, he's been down on pit road and back, and right now that 48 is sitting in, I just saw him, P9. So a lot of there's spots to be gained.
Green.
Here we go, back to green. The 51 with a nice start, the 03 with a nice start, and the 42 is wishing that wasn't the case, but off and running once again. I hope it stays green to the finish. 173 of 200, and Stephen Maggio already with a nice little lead as they are fighting side by side, second and on back.
Yeah, 42 really pinching the 03 down on the bottom line. 03 coming back up. Got a little loose there. That gave the nose to the 42. The 91, Izzy and Jay Sopko machine just behind Brody Bowker. He sees that there's momentum on the high side. If he can keep it off the wall, great job by the 91 not to slap that outside wall coming off. 42 is going to be able to yet again take over P2. Caution is back out.
See the chaos going in the back as we're on the rear of Stephen Maggio's car. It's going to be Honeycutt involved. Let's see if we can go back in time here. You see him side by side. Teammates, the 12 and the 50 get together, and the 50 gets spun around. The 12 just comes to a complete stop. Not what you want to see for Team FTR.
No, not at all. And Honeycutt had done a great job up until then, gaining some spots back after an early spin. Nowhere to go whatsoever for Jarrett Cardwell. Just up on the wall.
It has been such a clean race, has quickly turned. And man, look at all these guys juking it out over pit lane, acting like they're going in, and quickly changed their mind. I think these guys are just they're ready, elbows out, trying to get every spot they can, and if they can try to get a few drivers going in and gain a few spots, they're going to try to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, looking at some of these movers, I mean, Brendan Book up 13, Joe Berg up 14. Those guys right now are the biggest movers so far. We've seen it some others with some bigger numbers earlier, but Eliza, as we get set with less than 25 laps remaining here from Richmond, are you surprised with anybody inside the top 10, or are there any guys outside the top 10 that you thought would be within reach of the win?
You know, Jamie Wright is one that I'm surprised that's in the top 10. I mean, we haven't seen him a ton out here, but apparently Richmond is a good track for him, so it's great to see him out here. And one driver that I'm surprised is not in the top 10 is going to be Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. He's always extremely strong, has a great run, and he's only in 13th. Still time and is just outside the top 10, but I'm expecting to see him make an appearance.
You know what? I would actually have to agree with you. He went down pit road on lap 160. I think maybe just a little bit of a top off. Not quite sure when the last time was that he grabbed some tires. But right now, sitting P13, I think he's got a great chance at cracking into the top 10. I'm hoping that we can get back green and stay there for these final laps and see a great duel to the finish here in chase number 1 from Richmond.
Fingers crossed, guys. We got to get this thing to go green all the way through. We had such a clean race. We're on our 7th caution currently. 23 laps to go. It's going to be 22 by the time we go green once again. Joe Berg, saw him. He was serving that penalty at the start of the race. He is up to P12, up 14 spots from where he started. Or actually, that's where he qualified. Not exactly where he started, but a great comeback for Joe.
At Joe Berg before the race says, Pete, I've got a top 10 in me. You can hold me to it. Well, I challenged him to a podium. He's got 23 laps left to get up inside the top three. But Eliza, we're about to go back green.
Green flag.
51-42 side by side. 42 gets a pretty good launch this time, able to stay side by side with the 03. Can the 03 actually look underneath the 51? Nothing there. Wright had to check up. That allowed the 42 to pull better to his outside. Micah Allard tagging that wall just a little bit into turns 3 and 4. 42 sliding up just a little bit. 03 staying on the bottom. Micah Allard applying a little bit of pressure.
I don't even know how Brody saved that, but Jamie Wright into his quarter panel there and just
Wow.
completely slideways through the corner. Jamie just going to have to be gaining enemies after this race. I can't imagine it any other way, but man, oh man. Very, very interesting right there. But Brody in second, Jamie Wright third, Micah Allard fourth, Rivers Jones going to round out the top 5, Jimmy Cocker sixth, Hernandez seventh, up 3 spots, Francis Hamilton eighth, Thomas Harmon ninth, and Brennan Book going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, Matt Sisler, P11. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer with Joe Berg battling it side by side for P12. P14 looks like Josh Taylor with Jose Ruiz and Tom Flitcroft battling it out as well. Jared Cardwell 17th, Luke Allen 18th, Jordan McGraw 19th, and Dylan Robb right now rounding out the top 20. Eliza, things are heating up.
A look at our third car. It's going to be Micah as he looked extremely loose coming off that exit. No surprise here. That exit has been a trouble spot for these drivers. Let's take a look on board with Micah. See how it's driving.
Yeah, Micah's got the 91 and the 03 in his rear view, trying to catch up to the 42 of Brody Falliker. Brody Falliker right now, when I take a look at the top 3, Maggio, Falliker, and Allard, these guys are throwing haymakers at each other, each one taking turns at running faster laps than the next, lap after lap. Right now, though, Maggio with clean track in front of him.
Yeah, I just don't see him losing this race. I know he does not want to see these cautions, and we've talked to him, and he said, I really hope it stays green, but man, did I need that caution. He got his caution, but now we have a few more, so he really has to hold on to it. But Pete, I'm not seeing an issue with that. He's got Brody Falliker almost half a second behind him, and we have 16 to go. Jamie Wright really putting the pressure on these drivers who are in the chase. I'm not sure, again, I will say, he's been so aggressive. I'm not sure that these chase drivers will appreciate the battles that they're having with him, and he's gotten a few of them completely sideways.
Yeah, but at the same token, the chase drivers can't expect him just to pull aside and let them go. Everybody's here for the win. He wants to play spoiler. He's been inside the top 3 for the most part of the evening, up until getting passed by Micah Allard. He's got the 91 of Rivers Jones right now sitting P5 just behind him. I think that 03 can still get back up there and take a podium as the 61 of Allard gets loose behind him, right along with the 91 right behind.
I don't think that's changed at all. Take a look at Jonathan Jurgensmeyer at 16th currently. Jarrett Cardwell trying to make that comeback. He sits 17th. FTR driver 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. So nose to tail, 16th through 20th. We'll see if they can make their way through. But Steven Maggio still leading the field. Take a look at that gap. Brody Falliker is right behind him. He keeps blinking in and out. But besides that, about a second gap between him and third place.
I tell you what, one guy that is on that move, talk about the 2 of Josh Taylor. He just got by the 91 of Rivers Jones as well as the 03 of Jamie Wright. Josh Taylor last on pit road, lap 169 with a full stop. I think that Deuce has 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods. He's looking to try to get into the top 3.
The back of Brody Falliker's car, you can see the field behind him. We have clusters of cars, different packs going throughout, and we're going to have Josh Taylor side by side almost with Mike, and it looks like Josh was going to get extremely loose. Actually, I should say that's Micah getting extremely loose. Josh Taylor is in that 2 machine. He's going to be P3, and wouldn't I love to get him in the booth after?
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is a phenomenal run for Josh. Again, I talked about him earlier when he got his win at Bristol. Felt extremely proud of that win again here in Shake and Bake. Very, very tough tough community to grab a win. Now looking underneath the 42 of Brody Falker. All three up front are Chase drivers. Mike Allard behind, and then Jamie Wright. 1, 2, 3. Less than 10 laps to go, side by side for P2.
You know, 91 is giving a little bumper to the 03, saying, "Let me on by." We had a little issue earlier on, and I need to go. So we'll see if the 91 can get on through. But Josh Taylor still in front. He's going to be in front of Brody Folliker. So great position for Josh Taylor as Stephen Maggio about a second lead over Josh Taylor and the remainder of the field. But man, 8 to go, Pete. It has flown by. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, 8 laps to go, and I tell you what, Eliza, I keep an eye on Josh Taylor. The last 3 laps of the last 5 laps, he has been faster than both Maggio and obviously faster than Brody Falker. The gap between first and second, 1 second and falling. The two getting a little squirrel happy off of turn number 2, down the backstretch into 3, setting the brake, getting the nose all set. Off the corner he comes. This 2 is in the hunt as it's staying right about a second between first and second.
6 to go, a second lead for Stephen Maggio. Brody Folliker a little bit behind at 1.63. He's got Micah Allard not too far behind him, sitting P4 right where he started. Jamie Wright going to round out the top 5 with Rivers Jones still trying to make his way around, along with Jimmy Cocker in the 11 machine. Stephen Maggio, though, just too strong here at Richmond. This guy is going for his 5th win, and we're 5 to go. It looks like he might get it done for this 51 machine.
So behind the top 5 is going to be Rivers Jones in 6th. You mentioned him just a moment ago, right along with Jimmy Cocker, Jonathan Hernandez, Tom Flitcroft, who we talked with during one of those yellows, inside the top 10, now sitting P9, and Francis Hamilton in that number 48 machine sitting P10. Eliza, the top 3 heating up, but I tell you what, that number 51, he is gone.
He is gone, and man, there looks to be a little bit of racing right here. Tom Flitcroft and that 8 machine going side by side with Jonathan Hernandez in that 1 machine who just got a win. Hernandez won last week at Charlotte, the longest race of the season. 3 to go. Stephen Maggio still in the lead, and that gap is staying pretty consistent, but Josh Taylor closing it just a tiny bit. I don't think it's going to be enough, though, Pete.
Now, Josh Taylor's been faster 3 of the last 5 laps, completely pulling away from Brody Falker. I don't think he's going to have enough time. Even though he's got fresher tires, he's not been able to pull up close to or anywhere near the back bumper of Maggio. Maggio had too much of a lead, pulling away from the rest of the field while they were all battling side by side. Eliza, it's the white flag. It's all you.
Yeah, final lap. This is it, you guys. No more caution. Stephen Maggio could not get there fast enough. Here he comes down the backstretch, coming around the corner to his 5th win of the season. Tonight is going to be at Richmond Raceway. 200 laps in a dominating fashion here. Let's get him across the line. Huge congratulations, man. This guy is on fire. No one could handle it tonight. He just had too much of a dominating car. Josh Taylor going to be 2nd. Brody Folliker coming back from not a great finish at Charlotte. He is in the top 3.
Yeah, all of his competition inside the top 5 or so coming on up, putting that stamp of approval. Big old donut on the side of the car as you see Rivers Jones pull up alongside. Everybody coming up, you got to congratulate a guy for a performance like this.
Yeah, I mean, just a fantastic job. 5th win of the season. The next one is going to be 2 wins of the season. Brody Folliker is going to be one of them, with Matthew Opliger having 2 wins also. But man, what a run tonight. This guy just absolutely dominating, and I kidnapped him from his chat there, but man, let's let him celebrate a little bit and get these other drivers in here. Just fantastic run. You can see him burning it down. Let's celebrate. All right, we're going to get Josh
Gotta
Taylor
love
in.
the sound of a screaming motor after a great win. Guy that dominated everything in this race, whether it came to the restarts or green flag laps. This 51 Aflac machine absolutely on fire here at Richmond. Great way to set off the chase. Again, the next couple is going to be Talladega and then the Glen. It's going to be what a way to fire things off.
Yeah, Steven, what a great race for you. Very dominating race and a great celebration. We've had a lot of drivers absolutely just demolishing the engines with excitement after doing some donuts. But man, we talked to you earlier. You had a great car. I know you needed that caution. You wanted it to make that final run. We had a few more cautions after that. Take us through those final cautions.
Yeah, I was really excited to get that 120 caution. I was like, yes, now I don't have to worry about that like split strategy call. But then we kept getting them, and I was like, oh, am I supposed to pit here? Am I not supposed to pit here? And luckily I made the right choices on that. And then I was just worried towards the end because it just sometimes it can work out super unlucky for you. Like if those guys that had taken their last set, it's like, yeah, maybe if we run 20 laps, I'll have an I pit, like we get a caution and I pit, and I'll have 20 lap pressure tires. But then all those guys stay out, so then it's not like you still have to pass like 6 or 7 cars now, and you don't have that many laps to do it. But it all worked out, and then Josh had gotten up to second, and he was catching me fast. Like he ran 3/10 faster than me one lap, and I got really worried. And then I think the tires started to equal out a little bit, and I was able to just like keep my cool and hit my marks and everything, and I was able to hold them off. So really happy about that. I really didn't want to lose this race on not picking the right strategy or whatever. So just happy it all worked out.
Absolutely. Now, through those restarts, were you a little nervous, picking which lane or deciding if a driver was going to be able to get around you, or were you pretty confident that you had enough speed and were able to do that?
I don't know. I felt like I was just running the bottom the whole race, and I could save tires really well there, but I could also go really fast when I needed to down there, and I think it was going to be really hard for someone to pass me. The only one I was necessarily worried about was when Francis stayed out there. I thought he was going to pick the bottom and then have Brody restart right behind him, and like teammates, you can like they could have third roll to first a little bit through the restart zone, and then they both go out there and clear me, and then Brody would have been on fresh tires in front of me, and I would have had to try to get around him. But then he picked the top, so I didn't have to worry about that as much. So I was happy about that. But other than that, I felt like I could control it pretty good as long as cautions didn't fall super unlucky, which I don't think they really did. So I think I was in control as long as stuff out of my control didn't happen.
You were definitely in control tonight. Very dominating race by Stephen Maggio. Huge congratulations. 5 wins of the season. Next week, we're headed to Talladega. What are your thoughts about that?
It should be fun. I really like these cars on the super speedways. I mean, it's obviously really chaotic, and all super speedways are. But these cars, you can tandem really well, and if you get like hooked up with someone, you can shoot out there. So it should be fun. Gonna be gonna be important to have a good teammate because you can kind of tandem, like I said, and just gonna try to not wreck the car. I really feel like if I can just have a clean, run through the playoffs, then I'll be in a good spot. So just looking to, maybe get a top 10 and just not wreck the car. That's all.
All right. Well, good luck moving forward. Great job on the win here tonight.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. All right. I want to say a quick shout out to Jungle. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well. And P2, Josh Taylor.
Yeah, big charge at the end. Josh Taylor. Josh, phenomenal finish. Saw you go down pit road lap 169. That yellow definitely came in handy for you. What a charge up through the field. Second here tonight, got the big win earlier in the season at Bristol, which puts you into this position. Walk us through your race and that drive with those final laps to come up to a podium spot.
Yeah, well, I qualified really well. I think I qualified third, and immediately I figured out that the outside was just too good, and I got stuck on the bottom. And then next thing you know, I was mired in traffic, and like the entire race, it was really rough. And I just threw like a Hail Mary there at the end. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna lose that many spots. I was in ninth, I think. I finally got back up to the top 10. I was like, you know what? I'll just pit with 30 to go and see what happens. And I restarted 16th, and then got to 14th, and a caution came out. And I wish I had something for Maggio, but like it was just so hard trying to get through traffic. I had to burn up a lot of rubber to get there. And by the time I got there, he was just already so good, and we just evened out. I couldn't do anything at that point. He was just on a rail.
Yeah, you really had to battle with the '03 and, of course, the 42 of Brody Falker. Nobody's going to let you
Yeah.
by.
Yeah.
And we could definitely tell that you're using up just a little bit, but you're able to get to that bottom side and really accelerate off the corner with those newer tires.
Yeah.
If you were, do you think there was a certain number of laps more that you needed in order to get up to Maggio's bumper?
Probably not. I think at that point the tires had evened out at least. I probably even wore more tires than he did because he was, had fresh air and stuff. I came from 14th and I passed a lot of cars and really was driving really hard just to try to, you know, make up enough time. I think if more cars would have pitted and I would have came out like 12th or 11th, I wouldn't have had to waste as much tire getting up there, and maybe I could have had a shot at it. But I mean, also a couple of cars were trying to block me a little bit, and I just wasn't having it, to be honest. I was ready to go.
All right, so as Eliza just said to Steven, next week is Talladega,
hmm
and then the Glen after that. What do you think about that 2.66 mile juggernaut of a speedway next week, and who can you team up with out there? Justin's not here anymore.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Mike Campbell shows up. Maybe he'll
Yeah,
come
yeah.
and race with me and push me along. But yeah, I don't know. My goal this playoffs was to try to finish in the top five. I figured Maggio might have too big of a lead to really compete unless he messed up at this track. And I mean, going into the playoffs, I had two straight top fives. Would have been three straight top fives if it wasn't for Iowa. So this is my third straight top five. So I'm pretty ecstatic about that, and I feel like I've been a lot more consistent the second half of the season. So we're gonna try to keep some momentum, and maybe we can get lucky at Talladega or something, and maybe get another top five, and keep on rolling.
As always, buddy, I'll definitely be up in the booth rooting you on. Congratulations
Yes,
on your
sir.
podium. We'll see you next week at Dega.
Yeah, thanks.
You got it. Eliza, last season's champ, tonight's third place finisher, the one and only Brody Falker.
Yeah, Brody gained 8 spots tonight, round out the top 3 here. Take us through your race, a kind of a wild race. How did it go for you?
Honestly, I felt like my car was way better in the daytime. Obviously, I came through the field pretty quick. But ended up burning the rears off and learned a little bit on that run. And as the night went on, I couldn't keep the rear tires from burning up, and I just that eventually hurt me. Steven was so good on the bottom. Um, I couldn't replicate what he was doing. I tried everything. I searched every part of the track, and I could not find any other speed or any other way to save tires more efficient. We were good. We weren't the best. We will definitely take this third place, and hopefully, for next week in Talladega, that we get lucky. Hopefully, keeps us in the hunt, and hopefully, we can go back to back.
Yeah, I know a rough race for you at Charlotte, so tonight is definitely needed heading in first race of the chase here. But man, how difficult was it trying to pass these cars in the race at Richmond?
Uh, well, I'll tell you what, that '03 was at times impossible to pass. There was a couple other cars that were difficult to pass, but on the bottom, early in a run, it really early in the run, the bottom was probably the best lane, but lap 10 to 30 was the outside was where you wanted to make passes. Seemed like if you went up there and was pushing, then you would burn your tires up. You had to even it out, um, but yeah, I mean, this was definitely not. I don't know. The setup didn't feel like it was in my wheelhouse, but we still got third out of it, so I'm definitely happy.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully it's good momentum moving forward, especially Talladega. It takes a lot of luck and a lot of teamwork, and you definitely got the teamwork going for you. So we'll see how the luck turns out. But great finish here tonight at Richmond. Pete, next week, Talladega.
Yeah, Dega is a crapshoot. Like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Cannot wait to see how this all turns out. I mean, if it's all team based, FIWB should be first through 10th. I mean, I don't know who else we'd be talking to. They are absolutely stacked. But Eliza, it doesn't only come down to teamwork. You can line up with anybody and really have a great night. Huge track, big speeds, big draft, all kinds of momentum. Race number 2 of the chase. Looking forward to it. See you then.
See you guys next Monday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.